Hello, everyone. My name is Rob Wolpert. I'm the chaplain with Palliative Care, and I also coordinate the No One Dies Alone program. And this is a refresher session for those of you who have been volunteers in the past, have remained active with the program, and are going to be rejoining the program. So without further ado, I will move through the slides so that I can get through the information quickly. So this session, of course, is to orient you to the changes in the NODA program since it was last operational in 2020, I believe, retrain you on vigils and NODA in general, and answer your questions, which of course this is a video, so I won't be doing much of that. All of this is related to having it as a meeting. So, organizational structure. So No One Dies Alone is a program that Palliative Care at Eskenazi Health manages. I'm the person in charge of it, and I do that with the help of Volunteer Services, or Scott Lawson. He's the manager there. So Eskenazi Health is the City County Hospital of Indianapolis and Marion County. So we are technically a government hospital, and that's pretty much it. Our palliative care team, it might be different since the last time you were with us. Our manager is Allison Smith. Our previous manager, Heidi, was promoted. Our physicians are Doctors Claire Willard, Rafael Rosario, and Emily Furnish. We have 2 nurse practitioners, Shelby and Aaron. Cassie is our RN. Megan, Hannah, and Nancy are our social workers. I'm the chaplain, or spiritual advisor is my formal title. And our administrative support is Lisa Clark. Our team, pretty much just me and Scott with Volunteer Services, but I am seeking volunteers who would like to do more for the program, still in a volunteer capacity, but if you would like to help with orientations, being a phone coordinator, or anything else, let me know, and I can help you get set up with that. So NODA is set to relaunch this Friday, June 27th at 8 a.m. However, we did have a soft launch today unexpectedly, and today is Wednesday, June 25th. So if you would like to sign up for those vigils, check your email. We have about 20 volunteers available, and in the past, when NODA was active over 8 years, they had about 1 to 2 vigils per month, which was 150 vigils. So when are vigils activated? So they are activated by a nurse or staff person who will notify the shift coordinator, basically the charge nurse. We call them shifties. They'll notify them when a patient meets this criteria. So they're on comfort care, which means we're keeping them comfortable until they will pass away. They're on a do not resuscitate status, DNR. We expect them to die within 24 to 72 hours. And they don't have anybody present to be with them, whether it be family, friends, or whoever else. The shifty then calls the NODA phone coordinator, and the scheduling process begins. So the scheduling process looks a little bit different than it did when NODA was last active. I believe in the past, the NODA phone coordinator scheduled all of the shifts for every vigil. So every vigil has 8 3-hour shifts per day. So 8 volunteers a day. It's a little bit different now because what we've decided to shift to is putting the ball more in your court to sign up. So what will happen is when we receive a referral, the phone coordinator will only schedule the first 8 shifts, the first 24 hours. So they'll call you if you've noted that you are available. They will call you to schedule one of those first 8 shifts. So that means that if the shift goes for 3 days, we still have 2 days of coverage that we need to fill, and those will be self-sign-up, which you'll do through the VicNet app. So again, 3-hour shifts. Our shifts go 12 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12. If those shifts don't work for you and you'd like to sign up, please call the phone coordinator when a vigil is activated, and we can make some adjustments to that schedule for you. So this is basically what I just said, and I apologize, my head's in the way of the text here, but I'll send you the slides with this. The first 24 hours of a vigil will be scheduled by the phone coordinator. So let's make it easy and say that a vigil is going to start at midnight on April 28th. So the phone coordinator will schedule the first 8 shifts, which will take us to midnight on April 29th. So then all of the shifts after midnight on April 29th will need to be scheduled by you all via VicNet. You can sign yourself up, you go into the schedule, and you click schedule for yourself. That being said, you'll still be able to sign up for shifts beyond those 2 days. So, of course, we expect a vigil to last about 3 days or less, but let's assume this vigil goes from the 28th through the 30th, and we still need volunteers to sign up. So you're welcome to sign up for day 4, 5, even 6, 7, 8 if you want, but just keep in mind that those shifts may not happen because the person may pass away before then. So I do encourage you to sign up for those shifts, but keep in mind that they may be canceled just depending on how things go. If you have any questions about this, please let me know, this scheduling process. So dress code, really the big thing I've been told is don't wear any denim. You can wear a polo shirt if you want. I can also provide you a polo shirt from Volunteer Services. You get one for free. So just let me know your size and what you would like. You don't have to wear that shirt for your shifts, but if you don't, just make sure you're dressing business casual. I also want you to be comfortable. So just make sure you look nice and that you're comfortable, and you should be good to go from there. This time around, I've ordered some NODA badge buddies. You can kind of see on this picture here, I replaced my headshot with a better looking picture of somebody else. But you can see at the bottom there's a badge buddy or an ID tag, and it says NODA, like what I'm wearing here. And it sticks out below your badge, like mine says chaplain. Yours will say NODA. The reason for that is so that it helps the staff identify who you are. And I also want you to feel a sense of pride with why you're here, because you do serve a great purpose and the staff is really excited for you to come back. I also recommend wearing comfortable shoes. Wear some tennis shoes if that's best for you. So arriving for a vigil, you'll park. If you park in employee parking in the parking garage, you'll end up on the 2nd floor of the Fifth Third Bank building. You'll take the skywalk over to the hospital and you'll end up seeing this door on the left. This door will take you to the staff entrance area. This is where the staff elevators are. And I recommend using those instead of the visitor elevators because the visitor elevators do, I don't want to say lock or turn off, but they only function within visiting hours. So just use the staff elevators. They're always working. It's the easiest way to go. You'll go through that door. You'll make a right. You'll see the lockers on your left. Maybe this looks familiar to you, and you'll see the double doors ahead. You'll go through the double doors, and you'll see this hallway. So here is where you can take the elevators. There's some on the right of this picture. You can also go down the hall a little bit and take the elevators down there. But you'll see on the wall on the right-hand side there is a black box. So that black box is this machine. It's called a Chronos machine, or at least that's what I call it. And what we use this for is clocking in. So in the past, I believe that you all would track your hours in Volgistics. You no longer need to do that. I don't want you to worry about that. That's a big step. So what we're doing now is tracking volunteer hours through this machine. The reason we do that is we submit our hours to the Joint Commission and other institutions who require us to report your hours, which doesn't mean that it's not for any punitive reason. It's just to make sure that we're doing what's required of us to make sure we're a certified hospital. So the instructions are pretty easy. In the top left, you'll see a button that says punch in and out. You press that, wave your badge over the area it's showing there, and you'll be clocked in. Then you do the same thing when you leave. So something that's different this time around, we keep the NODA bags in the same area, which is the 10th floor office, room 10100, and that's our palliative care workroom. To make sure our supplies are secure and your belongings are secure if you decide to leave your things in this room, I've added a keypad to the door. The way that you'll know what the keypad code is when you receive the vigil activation email saying there's a new vigil, go sign up. That email will contain the passcode that you need. So I'll change this monthly. Just make sure you're paying attention to the vigil activation email and you'll have the code you need. So once you enter the office, you'll see this. This is all of our NODA stuff. You'll see the NODA totes. You'll see the cabinet there with extra supplies if you need them, like batteries and so on. We also have the NODA board. So before I get to the NODA board, I'll go over the NODA totes. So I've replaced the NODA bags with NODA totes because it's a little bit more sanitary, easier to clean. And the totes have basically the same stuff as they had before. So there's things that take notes in there. There's an activity log if you would like to use it. I have desk lamps in there for soft lighting if you'd like that. Flashlight is in there. Bluetooth speakers in there if you'd like to use your phone. The directions are also in there in a blue container. And I just encourage you to look at everything that's in there when you arrive for a vigil. If there's anything that you would like added to the tote, just let me know and I can order it. Another addition to the tote is a resource binder. So each tote has a binder. I think I actually called it a vigil binder, but the binder has information in it telling you basically guidelines. So I've printed off vigil instructions. What do you need to do during a vigil? How to get it started? Those types of things. Those are in the binders. There's also the protocol for what to do when a patient dies, which is basically just let the nurse know and let the phone coordinator know so they can schedule shifts. And then there's other things like some policies, what can volunteers not do, and those types of things. So I encourage you to look through those when you arrive. If both totes are gone, there's a third resource binder that you can see there sitting on top of the cabinet that you can look through. So the board. So the board is important this time around because this will be where you obtain your patient information. So you will be provided with the shiftie's phone number, and you're welcome to call the shiftie and ask them information about the patient before you arrive. However, I'm trying to limit some of the phone calls to the shiftie. So if you feel comfortable finding out about the patient when you arrive, I do encourage that, just so we cut down on phone calls. So if you don't call the shiftie, the way that you'll obtain patient information is via this board. You'll see there it says vigil information. And then there's patient information for vigil A, patient information for vigil B. We'll almost always use vigil A because we'll be using that one if there's one vigil happening at a time. But if we have a second vigil, we'll use vigil B. So if you know that there's only one vigil happening, you're there for vigil A. So when you arrive, you'll lift that green paper and there's an information sheet underneath of it that says the patient's name, their room number, maybe some things that we know about them that they like, maybe their condition at the start of the vigil, and then other helpful information. The same thing will be listed on patient vigil B if you're arriving for a second vigil. The NODA board on the right side also has general info like phone numbers, things to remember while you're here, and those types of things. You'll see here is that NODA resource binder. That's no longer sitting there. I've put it inside the cabinet drawer there, but what is sitting there now is a meal ticket voucher. So for every shift that you're here, you can take a meal voucher that you can use in the cafeteria, and it's worth $10. So that'll get you quite a bit in our cafeteria. Basically a full meal, depending on what you order. But just make sure that you're checking out the meal tickets. There's information on how to take one of those tickets within the binder. So just make sure you check it out when you arrive. The vigil feedback forms are anonymous. If you finish a shift and there's anything you'd like to share, you can note it there and turn it in there. I think one final thing I'll note that I forgot what it was is the office, the 10th floor office. You can leave your personal belongings in that office if you would like before you go to a room. So just keep that in mind. That door does lock because you have the passcode. So this is basic stuff in case you need a little bit of a refresher. What do you do during a vigil? At a minimum, I've just been asking our volunteers to be present. So of course, limit distractions and then just introduce yourself. Maybe say, hey, Patient Smith, my name's Rob. I'll be in the room with you for the next 3 hours to make sure you're getting what you need. And I'll let the nurse know if you appear uncomfortable or if it's like if you appear as though you need anything. That's really all that we're asking of volunteers. Just be present. Just be a friend to them. You're welcome to do more than that. And a lot of that depends on how interactive they are, of course. We have the Bluetooth speaker, like I noted. You're welcome to play music for them if you think that they would like it. Just make sure you keep it on a low volume, as they might be a little bit more agitated due to discomfort. So just make sure you're using some discretion when you're playing music. Also limit religious music unless you know for sure that that's something they would want. Other things you can do, you can read poems, read stories, be yourself, and you can just hang out if you want. Some things not to do that are outlined in the volunteer policy. You won't be transporting anybody. You won't be helping with medical things, personal hygiene. You won't be running any tests. You won't be providing medication, no interpretation. We have people on staff for that. Yeah, I think those are pretty self-explanatory. You can pause the video and read them if you'd like. You can also pause this part if you'd like to read these. Don't enter the patient's bed. Only visit the patient that you're there for. Don't visit other patients. Don't wander the hospital. Proselytizing or evangelizing is not authorized due to ethical concerns. If you have questions about that, please let me know. And then, of course, don't be disruptive. Try to facilitate a calm environment. This is a guiding question I like to use in my practice. The question of, well, do they need that or do I need that? And so whenever you're thinking about if a patient might benefit from music or a book or a conversation, I think it's helpful to ask the question, well, do they need that or do I need that because I'm anxious? And I don't ask that question to be facetious or passive aggressive. It's an honest question because it's something that everybody in the hospital needs to reflect on, whether they're a doctor, chaplain, social worker, volunteer. People can sometimes overfunction without intending to do it. So just make sure you're paying attention to yourself and thinking about, is this something that they really need in this moment, or is this just something I need to help my own anxiety? It's a hard thing to do. Death protocol I already mentioned. This will also be in the binder. Just inform the nurse and the NODA coordinator. You can stay for up to an hour if you'd like. Chaplaincy is available if you'd like them to visit you. And then just make sure you return the supplies back to the office. If visitors arrive for the patient unexpectedly, just introduce yourself, tell them you're there with No One Dies Alone. And if they seem like they're open to it, you can ask them if they're planning to stay for a little while. If they're planning to stay for less than an hour, my recommendation is that you also stay, but maybe be in the hallway for that time so that when the visitors leave, you can return to the room. But if they're planning to stay longer than an hour, then call the phone coordinator and figure out what's the best way to proceed from here. Do we need to postpone the vigil? Do we need to cancel it? Whatever it might be. Isolation, I really want you to pay attention to this. Ensure you're familiar with the isolation signs, which I emailed to you. If you need them again, just let me know. Every time you go in a room, just look at the room number to see if there's an isolation sign. I'll also let you know in the vigil activation email if the person will be in isolation. A big thing here, of course, it's in red. Don't bring any NODA supplies, equipment, totes into a room of isolation. Leave all of it in the office. The only thing you're going to bring is yourself. You can leave your personal belongings in the 10th floor office. There are sandwich bags in the 10th floor office that you can put your phone in ahead of time, so that way you have a barrier while you're in the room, so that you can use your phone through the bag without contaminating it. All right, logistics. There's a separate video that I'm going to upload on YouTube for this, so be sure to check this out. This is going to walk you through how to set up your logistics, which we call VicNet. It's also going to tell you how to self-schedule, so please watch that video after this one so that you know what scheduling looks like and how to do it. If you don't already have the VicNet app on your smartphone, please do download it because that's what you'll be using for all of your scheduling. I'm going to ask you to update your availability weekly on VicNet. The reason that we do that is so that on a weekly basis we can print off everybody's availability. So if you note that you're available for a certain time, if we receive a referral, the phone coordinator might call you during that time if you're available. So If you're okay with being called late at night, you can say that you're available during those times. We won't sign you up for a shift unless you consent to it or unless you sign yourself up on VicNet. But all that is to say, the availability is really telling the phone coordinator when you're okay with being called. So that helps us with that. And please make sure you're entering that in there so that we do have people available for the first 24 hours. All right, I would follow this link to show you VicNet, but that's in a separate video. Parking, you can park in employee parking here. If you don't have a tag, please let me know. We can figure out a time for you to pick it up. It's pretty easy. If you don't have a tag right now, you can park in visitor parking. It is free. There will still be a gate and it will open, so it will look like it's not free, but the gate will open automatically. You might have to take a ticket, and then when you come back down, you put the ticket in the machine and the arm will open. So it's free right now, but make sure you get a parking pass for employee parking if you don't have one, because they might change the policy so that it's no longer free for visitors. I already mentioned you can get a polo shirt if you'd like one. Just let me know. Let me know your size as well. I noted the $10 meal vouchers. And then, of course, you all are already volunteers if this video has been intended for you. So if you'd like to volunteer in other programs other than NODA, like if you want to do Cuddle Buddies or something, you can do that as well. So just reach out to Scott, the manager there. Other NODA activities, after every vigil, I'll schedule a debrief on WebEx, which is like Microsoft Teams or Zoom, that you can attend from your house. It'll probably be afternoon or evening, and we'll just spend some time talking about that vigil. So it could be a time for emotional processing, maybe talking about things that could be better, things that went well, and so on. It's open-ended. Additionally, I'm scheduling monthly meetings that I'll send you an invitation to. These will be recorded, assuming that I can get the recording situation figured out so the files are not corrupted. But they'll likely take place during lunchtime, like noon, and I'll have people present to you that are professionals in some capacity here at the hospital. So I have a music therapist, a registered nurse, and several other people that are interested in presenting to you. So I'll send you those invites as well. And that's it. So if you have any questions, please email me at the email there. You can also call me at that phone number there. And I'm really looking forward to having you on. Thanks so much for watching this.